Time for the Carolina Panthers. How about this? 2 years ago, 15-1. Now they went 6-10 last year. The win total is 9, 120 to the over. 6-10 straight up last year. Exactly what Atlanta's facing. Everything that went wrong, everything that could go wrong, did go wrong. 2-6 straight up in games decided by a field goal or less, starting from the get-go. Week 1 in Denver when Gano missed the game-winning field goal. 6-9-1 ATS, 7-8-1 to the under, Teddy. It was a wild season.
Yeah, and it was they couldn't win any close games. I mean, we're not talking about games by a touchdown or less. When you lose 6 times by a field goal or less in a single season, coming off a Super Bowl appearance, you know, it was like they kept on getting gut punched, and it didn't end all year long. But we look at their mainstream stats, they weren't that bad. They weren't the last place mainstream stats, Pauly. Take a look.
Turnovers, they were -2. 27 takeaways was top 10. 29 giveaways, bottom 5. Only other teams with as many or more giveaways: Jets, Chargers, Bears, Rams, and Jags. Hideous. All 5 and 11 are worse. All sit under their season win total as well. The offense, 5.2 yards per play, 4 yards per rush. Those are both slightly below average. 7 yards per pass, and 36 sacks allowed. Your thoughts on the defense?
Well, I mean, the defense had 47 sacks. That was number 2 in the NFL. They had 3.9 yards per rush allowed, top 10 in the NFL in rush defense. But even with the good rush defense and even with the ability to pressure opposing quarterbacks, they still allowed a QB rating of 92. That's slightly below average. So when you talk about all those offensive stats, yards per play, yards per rush, yards per pass, all slightly below average. The QB rating allowed also slightly below average. And all of those slightly belows led to a very disappointing campaign. But it's not a hopeless defense, not by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, when you look what Carolina did in the offseason, yeah, they put a little bit of money in the defense. And they have a new defense coordinator in Steve Wilks. You know, he's been their secondary coach since Ron Rivera got there. He's going to replace Sean McDermott, who's now the Buffalo Bills head coach. But, you know, they had a little bit of upgrade on that secondary. But most of what they did in the offseason was trying to get all those slightly below averages on offense back up to above averages when this offense was elite in Cam Newton's MVP season the year before.
I think they hit it out of the park in the draft. A home run with McCaffrey. He can do it all. And what a weapon, as he was a top 10 pick. They also take Samuel. Ted Ginn goes to New Orleans. Good riddance there. McCaffrey's been killing it in practice so far. Although who knows when Newton's coming back, as he's coming off of shoulder surgery. So they don't expect him till maybe July or August, Teddy.
Yeah, and you know, this was not a good offensive line last year. And Newton took a beating a season ago. He really did. And we're talking about a guy who was the NFL MVP 2 years ago. You know, best QB in the league that season. Last year, what do you have? 90 carries, 359 yards on the ground. That was his lowest total since entering the league. His completion percentage was below 53%. That's almost 7 points lower than it was in 2015. And, of course, he underwent surgery on his throwing shoulder in March. He said that he was playing for more than a month at the end of the season with a tear in his rotator cuff, but he played through it to demonstrate leadership for his teammates. But now you have all of these offensive weapons. You know, you're talking about your number 1 pick, McCaffrey, your number 2 pick, Curtis Samuel, out of Ohio State. They're going to have to spend their time getting ready and learning the offense with Derek Anderson, and then hopefully they'll get a chance to cram with Cam in August.
Yep, back to the draft. McCaffrey was 8th overall. Second round, they took Samuel, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. Morton, the tackle from Western Michigan, also in round 2. And then defensive end Hall from A&M in round 3. Hall can help out. He'll play behind Peppers and Johnson as well. Secondary, they re-signed Teddy Williams. They lost McDermott, as we mentioned, defensive coordinator. Ginn goes to New Orleans, as I mentioned as well. That's about it with some of the moves. What do you have on the schedule?
Well, you know, the schedule is going to be easier than it was last year. Last year, their schedule was somewhat tougher than average. And this year, on paper, based on 2017 win totals, their schedule is slightly easier than average. That being said, boy, they got a rough run in October. 4 roadies in 5 weeks. The only home game, a Thursday nighter against Philadelphia. But when you look at this schedule, and all of a sudden you start going through the first month of the season, you know, at San Fran, Buffalo at home, New Orleans at home, the one game at New England, but then Detroit and then Philly at home and Chicago, you say, man, 6-1, 5-2, it's not hard to picture Carolina getting off to a good start and propelling their momentum forward into the back half of the campaign. And the markets are telling us to expect a bounce back from Carolina. A team that won 6 games last year is lined at 9 with juice on the over. I can certainly understand why the markets are enthusiastic about this team heading into the campaign.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.